For some reaction, we are joined now by Kabelo Mahlobongwane, who is a spokesperson for the Educators Union. Kabelo, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Schools will be remaining open as per the minister's briefing. What is your take on the announcement by the minister?
Well, thank you very much, Faith. We want to actually first wish the Minister of Basic Education a happy birthday and hope that she had a very wonderful day as she prepares for retirement, because her time is done now. We are very disappointed, but not shocked, because we know that for a long time, the Minister of Basic Education has never prioritized the lives of teachers. In the beginning of the lockdown, she announced that she's testing waters with the lives of teachers. And we see that happening again now as the virus surges and teachers are dying in schools. Actually, in this month alone, we have over 3,000 teachers that have tested positive, and over 3,000 learners that have actually also tested positive, and schools are closing every day. In Gauteng, as we speak, yesterday we had a report of 40 schools that had to close because of COVID-19 cases. So what she's announced is actually unscientific. We wonder where she's getting her advice from, because the country is on level 3 lockdown, but it seems like she's somewhere on her own. She has actually done something very bad. She's declared the lockdown regulations unnecessary in schools anymore. And if she does that, she means that even in communities, these learners will no longer follow lockdown regulations. She's setting a very bad precedent, and it's disappointing from a grandmother whom we expect that should be very caring of young children, and especially other people like teachers.
So according to you, Kabelo, the idea or the announcement to keep schools open is a bad one?
It is very similar to committing a genocide, because she's sending teachers to a place where people are dying. We are facing a virus that is not known. I mean, even the vaccines that she's announced teachers are getting are still trials. So basically, teachers now are guinea pigs, because she's giving teachers vaccines that are still under trial. We wanted vaccination of teachers, but we're expecting that she could use vaccines that have a history, like vaccines in China and Russia. Those countries are dealing very well with the virus. But she's giving us some vaccines that, and actually we don't even believe that teachers will get vaccinated. Remember, we've been getting stories. The first round from India, we were told they expired. The second ones, J&J, we were told they contaminated. These ones, we will hear another story. We know the minister, and in what she's doing was just PR. That's why she went publicly today and compromised some hours of her birthday just to come and give us things that we already knew. She could have sent an email or sent a media statement to address what she's been doing there. But we're very disappointed. And actually, we have a plan of action from Monday as a union. We've decided in consultation with our members that we are going to call for the withdrawal of labor from teachers. And if on Friday schools are still open, on the other week, we are going to physically shut down schools, working with community organizations that we've consulted. We've got learner organizations that have came to us. Yeah. We've got political organizations that have approached us, and we are going to shut down schools. We are giving the minister 1 week, but from Monday, teachers must withdraw. Teachers must take leave, because teachers have a right to take 2 days leave without submitting a sick note. Monday and Tuesday, we are going to make a call that teachers must report sick, because they are sick and tired of this minister that's bullying teachers and not even caring about us.
Yeah. So then, Kabelo, according to your union, what would be the appropriate action where schools are concerned? I understand that it's in light of an increasing COVID-19 infection rate. It's in light of how even young people, learners, must still be afforded the opportunities to go to school. But in light of those two variables, where do you guys stand? What's the amicable solution for both the learners and the teachers at this point?
We believe that at this point, the first priority must be to prioritize lives and shut down schools. But also, I mean, we are in the 4th industrial revolution. There are a lot of platforms that are available free online that learners can be able to use to study remotely. But remember, we were the first union to warn the department and ask that they should have used the lockdown last year to prepare for a new normal. We don't understand why the minister is obsessed about going back to the old normal, whereas we see everyone is changing. I mean, I'm doing an interview now from home. The minister is also giving these meetings.
Can I just interject there on that point, though, Kabelo? You are, I'm sure, more than aware of the discrepancies as well as the inequalities that exist within your own education space. As you're speaking to me now, using 4IR mechanisms, don't take into light than the fact that we've got kids in the rural communities who don't have that privilege of even having a laptop, a computer, or even having internet for that matter, yet alone electricity, right? So on the other side, we cannot ignore the inequalities that exist within the education space. So by you calling for the shutdown of schools, are you not disenfranchising the very same people you're trying to protect and the very same lives that you're actually trying to uphold, where they get to not benefit in the long run? And those are the learners, the people that you stand up for.
Well, you are right there, but we are saying that those problems, those challenges that we are facing are actually not challenges that are outside of this world. They are as a result of the incompetency of the minister and his whole cabinet and his MECs. That's why we still have an education system that is done the same way that it was done 20 years ago in this country. But we are saying that we have churches, there's a lot of ways that this thing can happen. We have churches and communities that have said we are willing to allow learners to come and meet in our churches in small groups to attend virtual sessions. We have the department itself having lessons that they give through radio. There are a lot of other mechanisms that can be used. And one day if you invite me just to speak on that, I will dwell on it. But there are a lot of things that we can do to make sure that education continues. Because remember, education is not a classroom. A classroom is just an environment where learners learn, but education can take place anywhere and in many other different means. Yeah. So what we are saying, but at this point, is that lives are more important. Rather lose a life than lose a grade. It's not the first time in South Africa where learners are losing grades. Even in 1976, a state of emergency was declared by the then government. And today we have people that are ministers. I think even yourself, you would remember, maybe you were 18 at that stage. But people continued, life continued, and people caught up with what is happening in the country. Why are we saying that people must die instead of losing a mere grade with a curriculum that does not even prepare learners to read in grade 10? We have learners that can't even read. What's so special about this education system?
Okay, so then do you have any form of confidence then, Kabelo, in the minister's leadership? Because it sounds as though you've lost complete faith in the ability of the minister to hone in, to even spearhead and even have a vision for this department. Are you confident that she is the leader who is right for this point in time?
The minister had 3 terms in this position, and she has failed. We have said last year that we need a young and energetic minister that is going to be able to understand the new ways of education. Minister Angie Motshekga is our gogo. Minister Angie Motshekga is older than my grandmother, and I'm a teacher now in education. She's supposed to go home and spend time with her grandchildren. The time is done now. She must go home and retire. It was a birthday today, and I hope that part of the new resolution should consider going home and spending time with the grandchildren. Yeah. We can't be working with gogos that still don't even understand technology and therefore are today. So we are saying, Minister, nicely, please go home, retire, your time is up. Give young people, Panyasa Lesuf is here, the MEC, who is very vibrant and energetic. We want to engage with such people so that when we criticize them, they're able to respond to us with positivity. Minister, her time is done. We are very thankful for her service, but she must go home.
So are you going to be encouraging your members to actually take the vaccine?
Our members must take a vaccine that is tried and tested, not one that is still in trial. The J&J vaccine is still in trial. It is not tested. It is not confirmed to be killing the virus. The MEC of Health in Gauteng took the same vaccine and still tested positive afterwards. So it does not solve anything. We want our members to register for the vaccine, but they must refuse to take the J&J vaccine because it is still under trial. That thing is for guinea pigs. People, if they want to test it, they must use guinea pigs. They must not use the lives of people. So we're not going to encourage them to take this specific vaccine. But they must register so that they can have the system and move forward. But we don't trust it because we can still test positive even after taking this vaccine. So what is the whole point? Actually, I can promise you today, you will call me maybe after 2 weeks. The Department of Basic Education will bring a story. This vaccination will not happen. And I can promise you today.
All right, so then, Kabelo, when it comes to the vaccine, right, you're saying that your members, you're not encouraging them to take the vaccine. What is your solution then? What are you saying, that they must wait for the Sputnik vaccine? They must wait for a different kind of vaccine, that you don't have faith in necessarily the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, but if they propose to you a different form of vaccine, then you would encourage your members to take it, maybe the Pfizer vaccine?
Exactly. We are looking for vaccines that have been proven to be working. Any vaccine, my sister, we're not even specific. China and Russia are just 2 examples because we've seen all of us practically how the vaccine has been working. So any vaccine that has a record of working, teachers must take it. But this J&J one, they must be very careful because people have been having complications with the same vaccine. The minister, an MEC, I'm giving an example of an MEC of Health, who is leading this portfolio, tested positive after using the same vaccine. So teachers should not take the J&J vaccine. They must take any other vaccine that comes, Sputnik, as a record of working, then they must take it. But we're saying that next week, Monday and Tuesday, schools in South Africa should be closed. Teachers should take sick leave, and they must show a protest. So we are starting our phase 1 of protest. And if the minister is arrogant, we are going to give other directions. But in the second week, we are going to physically shut down schools to protect lives in South Africa. The vaccine, my sister, we're not going to take a trial. We're not guinea pigs. We're human beings with human rights. The minister must first go back to office and start working in one of the schools. When she's working in a school every day, then she can tell us that schools must open. But she cannot give us mandates that are from the comfort of her bed during a virtual meeting. They can't make decisions like that. We note even all these other unions that are going to benefit from this rollout, because remember, this is a tender. We are warning the people against people who are tenderpreneurs and acting as unionists and leaders.
Who are these people then, Kabelo? If you're saying that they're unionists that are acting as entrepreneurs and that they're tenderpreneurs, who are these people? Who are these unionists that are acting as tenderpreneurs? Surely you must be able to give us some indication of what exactly it looks like where reality is concerned. Who are these people?
Well, the unions that have agreed that schools must open, because the minister said that she did not make these decisions alone. So clearly he indicated the unions that she consulted. And clearly, if you look around, even if you can ask your neighbor who's a teacher, they will tell you that they are against this decision of opening schools. So who did these unions consult? They have been representing the views of the Department of Basic Education from the beginning of this lockdown. They've never represented the views of teachers. So those are the people that are tenderpreneurs. We have evidence. In KZN, we also had an issue at the Tembeleng secondary school where learners were fed rotten food. Upon investigation, we were informed that the reason no one was taking action against the rotten food is because the officials of education and unionists that side are the ones that are delivering.
Which union do they belong to? Do they belong to SATU? Which union exactly do they belong to?
Well, they belong to these unions that I can't say names now. But what we want to see, the president must institute an investigation similar to the one here, a digital vibes, similar to the one here, the former MEC of Gauteng, in education. Ask yourself, in education last year, a Jojo tank was bought for 5,000 rand, a Jojo tank that cost 1,000 rand. We asked the president to investigate, and he never investigated. If he can start and investigate corruption of PPEs, specifically in education, these names will come up. There was a report where even MEC Panyaza Lusufi commented, saying that SATU has captured basic education. That report now is not considered anymore. But there's a report and an investigation that was done a few years ago, which the findings said that there's a union in education, which is SATU, that has captured basic education. They hire MECs,
so
they hire directors.
Kabelo, that SATU is corrupt?
I'm saying there was a report that said SATU is corrupt.
Okay.
It's available online. People can Google it.
Well, we're going to leave it there for this evening. Thank you very much for that. Kabelo Mahlobongwane, who is the Educators Union spokesperson. There you have it. We've got an Educators Union that is saying, indeed, they're not encouraging teachers to take the COVID-19 vaccine, that is the Johnson & Johnson vaccine specifically. And they're also saying that members must prepare themselves for next week. And they're encouraging their union members to actually shut down schools if the minister does not heed their calls for the program thus far. We're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on the story, as you can appreciate. That certainly, as it develops, will be ensuring that indeed you stand a chance to be in the front row seat to witness exactly what happens, as it is about saving lives, and particularly looking at the fact that it's your child at the end of the day that is affected. Well, let's stay with the